Two things: I shall try to be as respectful as possible. Starting this off, I shall try to be as respectful as possible. Okay, that is step one. Step two, or part two, you don't know my political affiliation. You don't know what party I'm part of, or if I'm even part of a party. As far as politics go, you don't know any of my affiliations. You don't know if I'm non-affiliated either. You don't know if I'm non-affiliated. You don't know any of my affiliations. Okay, now I shall start this off. But before we start it, I'm going to tell you some things, though. I have heard about water vapor. I've heard about it. That's part of the humor of the show. All part of the show. All part of the show. Okay, so I've talked to you about water vapor, perhaps, or of how the air can generate water, how the air can generate water. Water can come from the air. It could possibly solve some human needs. It could. Next, I'll talk to you about a guy who I will cover as a celebrity review, such as I did with Greta Thunberg. Okay, there's this guy. You may or may not have heard of the guy. I shall tell you who he is. Björn Lomborg. Björn Lomborg. Danish author. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. And let's take a look. Now let's take a look. What about him? Encyclopedia Britannica is what I'm going to use as a source when I do his presentation, or when I do a presentation of him is what I mean. I bet you knew what I meant. Now let's start off with this. Let's start off with this. Okay, I will give you a visual thing here. Take a look. You can tell I created a diagram for you to look at. As far as the flat tax goes, I'll give you a diagram here. Take a close look at it. Take a close look. Okay. I will explain it to you, then I will show it to you on the diagram. Okay. It's called reason for a flat tax. In a progressive tax, I'll tell you what it is. X is greater than Y. X and Y, I should explain, X and Y are both percentages that someone would get taxed. X and Y are the percentages that someone would get taxed. X and Y. Okay? And X is greater than Y. Now I'll tell you what it is. That means people get taxed. This is a progressive tax system. So X is larger income. X times larger income is, of course, going to be greater than Y times smaller income, given how X is a bigger percentage than Y. So let me plug in and let me show you what the values are here. Here's the diagram. I bet you can see it. You see? Okay, you see. I'll give you something else now. Now, as you shall see. let's plug some values into it. What number could be X? What number could be Y? Their percentages. X could be, X would be 40%. Y could be 30%. Okay? Okay. Now let's have other numbers. What could the income numbers be? Let's say one guy gets $70,000 a year, and another guy, the less wealthy guy, gets $50,000 a year. You know what? Actually, I'll switch up the numbers a little bit. I'll make it so that way you understand it better. Okay. One guy gets $1 million a year. Okay. The other guy gets $50,000 a year. Okay. Now let's take a look at this calculator here. You see this calculator? I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. Okay. What is 40 times 1? What is 40% of 1 million, or 0.40 times 1 million? Okay. $400,000. You see there? 0.40 times a million is 400,000. You get it? Do you get it? 0.40 times 1 million is 400,000. I'm sure you get what I mean. Okay, now let me move things around now. Okay, what is 30%? What? 400,000. I'll write that down here. 100,000. Now, what is 30% of 50,000? Let me show you. 50,000. 15,000. 15,000. Okay. 15,000. As you can tell. As you can tell. As you can see. I am sure you can see. Now, I am sure you know $400,000. $400,000 is more than $15,000. I am sure you know that. I'm sure you know that. That is simple math. Or, well, I mean to be as respectful as possible. If you didn't know that, I mean no disrespect. Okay, I hope no one's mad. Hope no one's mad at me. Try to be as respectful as possible. Okay, now I'll give you the next thing. Now here I have just told you about the progressive tax. Okay, what are things that could happen with and actually, before I move on, I'll tell you more problems with a progressive tax, because the system can be very problematic sometimes. Moving up is punished, in a sense. Moving up is punished. Moving up is punished. It is. It's punished. Moving up is punished. You see all those things there? Let me tell you. Moving up is punished. Businesses will find ways out of paying. Or you can take it, the wealthy can find ways out of paying. They can move away. They can find ways out of paying. And therefore, that's less business wherever they are. And look at how many businesses are leaving California right now. Look at that. That's what happens when people bank on taxing the rich, when you don't know. With a progressive tax system where they could move away, they might not pay. They might get tax attorneys, or they might get discouraged from working altogether. That's the thing that people don't tell you about income inequality is, how stable is income inequality? What if one year I sell a house, my house, for, I don't know, maybe what if someone else, I don't want to use myself as an example, that's inappropriate for me to use myself as an example. What if someone sells something for blank amount of money and bum bum bum, that year they have more income than anyone else? Not than anyone else, but than they would have normally all other years. That's the deal with income inequality. That's what they don't tell you. Perhaps an income inequality. Okay. So now we have just talked about the progressive tax system. Now let's talk about the regressive tax system. It can be hard to talk bad about something when it is so, when it has a positive word like progress in it, because that word is so commonly associated. The connotations are so positive. Now I'll show you something else though. Because, well, before I move on, I'm also going to tell you the deal with inflation. The deal with inflation. Inflation causes a lot of negative things. People may think, what about other currencies? What if more people from other currencies are going to come over? They're going to spend their money here. What about the Federal? The Federal Reserve can't do that much. The Federal Reserve can only do so much. The Federal Reserve can only do so much. If other people with other money want to come over here, other currencies, their currencies will become higher. Inflation-wise, things are going to happen. Boom, boom, boom. It's a problem though. Immigration. How are we going to get money from tourists if we have no immigration restrictions? Zero immigration restrictions. How are you going to get money from tourists? We have the most immigrants in the United States legally than any other nation on the planet. If we're going to get money through inflation, through tourism, how are we going to do that? Let's say we are the only nation that has birthright citizenship, and we have more immigrants, and the nation, the United States, has more undocumented immigrants than any other nation on the planet. You may think, what if we manufacture things? What about that? Take a look at this diagram here. You've seen the green line destroying the wall here. The currency is higher. Well, but we don't have immigration laws, then, well, that's not serious. That's not serious then. The other currencies being higher is not serious. And if nuclear energy is banned, we can't manufacture so many things. If renewables is the only thing, renewables is the only resources. Nuclear energy is banned, renewables is the only thing that we can manufacture with, then, well, then renewables are not going to manufacture that much. We will have not anything to give to tourists. They won't be able to buy anything from us. We won't have produced anything. You see that? See that? So you see, today, non-serious nuclear. I was like, what about intellectual property? What about that? How many tourists go into places to buy intellectual property, or buy ideas or things like that? So that's not a very good argument, if you ask me. Okay. You see? Okay. Now you have this. Now let's get to, with a flat tax, the Laffer curve could work. The Laffer curve could actually work with a flat tax. It could work. David Packman has said it wouldn't work, but here you can see this diagram here. You can see how it would work. Take a good look. Now I'm going to explain it, and I'll show it to you again, okay? Because let me tell you something as far as that goes. Matter of fact, I don't think I did the percentage thing for regressive taxes. I think you already get the picture. So I'll just do it. Let's say I give you 30%. 30% of a million, okay? That is 300,000. You see, 30% of a million is 300,000. 300,000, yeah, that's the truth. And 30% of 700,000, is 200. 3%. Well, not of 700,000, but, well, let's say 30%. Let's think about numbers that you more commonly see. 30% of 70,000 is 210 is 21,000. Okay, 300,000 is so much more than 2,000. Or than 21,000. 300,000 is so much more than 21,000, okay? Okay, flat taxes, good. Flat tax is good. Plus, even if the government collected everything, how would we know? We see there's a zero there, and there's externalities also. There's externalities, which is the element of altruism in there. This has been all. Thank you.